What's up, guys? This is Axiom, aka Ryofu, and this is the Gaming Harbinger. It's time to take a deep dive on what some people have been low-key discussing. Capcom is on fire. They have been hitting home run after home run, and it is amazing. If there's anything you should take away from this video, it is that Capcom has made mistakes like any other company, but they chose to handle these things in a very smart way. They stayed quiet and took notes. No PSA, no promise to do things better. They just talked amongst themselves and made the appropriate changes. These changes were not only due to criticism, but due to observation of their peers. Before we get into the video, please consider joining this team. Subscribe. We do reviews on games, reviews on anime, think pieces such as this, and analysis of what's happening within the industry as far as tech or as far as the business side of gaming. These are the type of conversations I like having. Even, like I said, even if it's business related, it intrigues me as far as sales or how tech is evolving. So that's what you can expect from my team. Without further ado, let's get into the shits. Okay, so I know this story starts long before Street Fighter V came into existence, but I want to start here, and just bear with me, it'll make sense in just a moment. So fans, of course, were very critical and outraged by the lack of the single-player content in Street Fighter V. But despite all this, the game did sell decently. It did sell below expectations. Capcom was hoping to sell around 2 million by the end of their fiscal year of 2016. Instead, they sold around 1.4 million. However, total sales for the game ended up being 2.5 million, which, to be honest with you, for a fighting game, that's not too shabby. Anyways, like I was saying, there were harsh criticisms thrown at Capcom. But the overall consensus for this game was that it may have lacked single-player content. It might have had expensive-ass DLC, and it may have even had some online connectivity issues at the beginning. But it is a solid fighting game. And I think when you look at those plus and minuses and all that, that's kind of the crux and the vibe that everyone felt with Capcom during this time period. You know, there was just, it's like, hey, you know, we got Resident Evil, 5 and 6. And while they were very action-y type games that were solid, they were a complete deviation of what Resident Evil was known for. Horror. We had no Devil May Cry 5 in sight. Instead, we got DMC. While DMC was a very competent action game in its own right, people were super critical on Dante's looks. Myself included. Just gotta throw that out there. And also, there was no Mega Man game in sight as well. And that was when Keiji Inafune-san went to Kickstarter and presented people like me an opportunity to relive our childhood dreams. I was a Mega Man kid. Mario, Sonic, Link, all those homies, they came after him. Mega Man was my guy. So when I saw the Mighty Number 9 documentary, I was moved by it. I mean, it touched my soul. I just gotta be honest about that. There was no question in my mind. I mean, as soon as it was over, I immediately made a Kickstarter account that day and became a backer. I wish I was joking. To cut to the chase, I was disappointed in Mighty Number 9. And you have no idea how hard it is for me to say something like that. Because I play mediocre games. I still find value in them. I play indie games, so it's not just about graphics. But I was really disappointed in this game. It made me sad because I really believed in this man. And I still believe in him. And I still respect him. And I feel like he's brought us some incredible series. But I'm not going to say that with with hate and just rant like a psychopath. However, this game is not one of those incredible series. Maybe it could be in the future. Maybe if he decides to make a sequel, who knows? Maybe then it can ascend to greatness. But right now, it's not. But anyways, let's get back to the point of the video before I depress the shit out of myself. Capcom took notes. That's what I'm saying. When all that stuff was going down, when people saw Inafune-san and his company get $4 million from Kickstarter, technically, from backers, Capcom took notes, and they saw the interest in Mighty Number 9. They stayed quiet and didn't make an announcement, didn't make a comment. Around that same time, Konami drops PT, which was a playable trailer for the canceled Silent Hills. There was, and I know you guys remember this, there was a lot of praise for this demo, man. A lot of praise. I believe this came out in August of 2014. And when this demo, but when this game was canceled, fans were very upset. They lost their ever-loving mind over it. And I will say, in fairness, this game was going to be mastered by Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro, Not to mention the main character was being played by Norman Reedus. That's like all kinds of wins, right? All kinds of wins. What's not to get excited about? So, I can't blame people for being upset that this was canceled. And, it just never came to be. Please believe that Capcom didn't take notes on this shit. Of course they did. They took a shit ton of notes. Why do you think Resident Evil 7 looks the way it does? Why do you think it's first person? I know there were spin-offs and that there were some rail shooters in RE, but look, it has always been a third person series. This was intentional. I'm not saying that they copied PT through and through, but I am saying that they took notes and they capitalized on the vibe that PT was on. This was not a mistake either, because Resident Evil 7 Biohazard was well received by fans and critics. There might have been a few diehards that were like, I don't know why is it in first person? I don't understand. But majority were singing praises to Capcom. And I have to throw this in there real quick, but my only annoyance came when people were saying phrases like, "Oh my god, survival horror is back, oh my god," or "Maybe horror games have finally returned." And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. Come on, get out of here with that shit. These games have always been around. Now, okay, if you only play Resident Evil and you only play Silent Hill, then yes, horror games disappeared for a very long time, and I can see why you would think that. But just even a month before Resident Evil 7 came out, Dead Rising 4 came out as well. Now, this isn't a positive to my story because I believe Dead Rising 4 sold a little under 1 million, which was below their 2 million expectation. But, it was a solid game. It did get mixed reviews. And it's unfortunate that that team was disbanded. But, horror games has been around for a while. That's all I'm saying. And they exist. They're around. People just don't really know about them because it's not Silent Hill or Resident Evil. Anyways, we got to get back to this. So, but it was Resident Evil 7 that was the uptick of Capcom. And then, of course, as you guys are well aware, a year later, here comes Monster Hunter MFing World. I won't spend too much time on this, okay? I promise. Because I already have a video on this masterpiece. And, I will more than likely ramble on about the game again when the expansion comes out. I believe it's in August or September of, this year of 2019. But anyways, Monster Hunter World just beyond exceeded expectation. and is now the highest selling Capcom game. Yes, it sold more than Street Fighter, Devil May Cry, Resident Evil. And to be frank, I find that shit hard to believe. The last number I heard was Monster Hunter World was sitting at 12 million. That's freaking insane. Because I played this game or this series when it was just so under the radar. You could say Monster Hunter, nobody, especially in America, knew what the hell you were talking about. So it's just amazing where it's at right now. But Capcom was not done. Capcom was not done. They decided to let us know during E3 of 2018 that we do have a Mega Man 5 coming, and Mega Man 11 coming, and we have a Devil May Cry 5 on the way. Is this the same company? For real? For real. Man. And I remember at that time, the Devil May Cry 5 trailer looked amazing. And Mega Man 11, while it looks like a smaller title, and it was a smaller title, it still looked way better than Mighty Number 9. My stomach just turned saying that. I feel sad again. But it did. It looked better. It looked nice. Mega Man looked fucking adorable. I was excited. And Mega Man 11 actually came out in October of 2018. 2 solid reviews. I was still too busy playing Monster Hunter, but the game came out and got excellent reviews. I'm very happy about that, very happy. And then, January 2019, we get the Resident Evil 2 Remake, which was another smash for Capcom. But one thing I do want to point out about this Resident Evil 2 Remake is that this game got, like, the high reviews it received are probably the most critically acclaimed in a very, very, very long time. Like, even Monster Hunter, it's gotten some reviews, but of course, Monster Hunter is most certainly not perfect, and especially in the performance area. But, Resident Evil 2 Remake is like a fine-tuned engine. You could look and find some faults here and there, but it's a very, very polished outing. Just kudos to them. Kudos to them. Despite being in the middle of countless games, I decided to load up Resident Evil 2 Remake just to see for myself, and I couldn't put down the damn controller. You see, even though Capcom made adjustments to Resident Evil 7 due to PT, fans have said for years that all they want is a third-person Resident Evil with modern graphics, but less actiony set pieces than Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. Now, I do want to take a brief moment and just say that if you put any game that's like 20 plus years old or 15 plus years old, you can say, hey, you know what? How about we bring that back, revitalize the series, give it a fresh coat of paint, and bam, we could have another hit on our hands. And this is essentially what Hollywood does too. A really old movie, they're like, hey, let's bring this back. Let's bring this back and go back to this, because I think we could make this for a new audience, modernize it a bit. And that's essentially what fans of Resident Evil, this is essentially what they wanted. I also want to point out that with Resident Evil 5 and 6, I still think these are fun games. No one, but they do, should ever say that these games are bad. They are not bad. They are most certainly a departure in style, but they are not bad. So the Resident Evil 2 Remake is a smash. And here comes Devil May Cry 5. And this came out in March of this year. Another hit for Capcom. Granted, Devil May Cry 5 and Mega Man 11 might have smaller fan bases in comparison, but they are both considered success stories, which makes the younger me very happy. Devil May Cry 5 is everything that fans wanted. A proper sequel, a continuation of the story, badass gameplay with gorgeous graphics. The Devil May Cry 5 team deserves a medal for making this solid entry. Not sure if any of them has spoke on it, but I bet Platinum Games are pleased with the outcome of 5. Just saying. In mid-April, we got a remaster of 3 Phoenix Wright titles, and these were the original that came out on the Game Boy Advance, and this came out on the Switch recently, and I had to take it upon myself to check it out, and it looks great. While the art style might appear dated, I guess you could say, but everything looks sharper and crisper than ever before. And I really do look forward to playing these games. I think Phoenix Wright is very charming, and I have some friends that like Phoenix Wright, and then I have friends that like Danganronpa, and a lot of times they'll say, well, which one do you like better? And it's really hard to say because Danganronpa is a little darker, a little more serious. It has comedy in it, but it's definitely darker than Phoenix Wright. And Phoenix Wright is just quirky and very charming in a totally different way. Definitely much lighter and more bananas than Danganronpa, which says a lot because Danganronpa is pretty effing bananas too. Okay, so before I conclude this video, I want to make one prediction. I think we're getting another Onimusha game. I think that Capcom always throws out like a port or a remaster when they are working on a sequel for games that have, it's been a long time. I really hope I'm right about this because this is something I really want. I love Onimusha. I just wish the port that they dropped, the beginning of this year, I wish it was actually a remaster because it's not worth it to me. And I've already played this first one so many times. It's just not worth it to me, at this point. This is a PlayStation 2 game, and it's not worth it to me. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. And at least if you want to give us a port, they should have had all 3 games, or actually 4. But let's just even keep it to the main entry. So those first 3 games for $30 or for $20. But I'm not paying that price for the first freaking game. That's just not happening. Not happening at all. But the conclusion I want to make is that Capcom listens quietly and observes. It may not seem like they are like they're paying attention or responding to criticism, but these last couple of years have shown us that Capcom wants to still make console and PC games. They are not Konami, and never forget that. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Please tell me what your favorite Capcom game is. Is there any series they should try to revive? Like Breath of Fire. That would be pretty cool. And I'm talking about a console game or a PC game or both. I'm not talking about that freaking mobile game. But, just let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys in the next video. It's been fun.